It's got to be 3, 2, 1, dude.
Any minute. Here we go. All right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Scottsdale Center for Spiritual Living. I am Reverend Lee Height, and we are thrilled to have you here, everybody here in the space, and everybody out there in internet land. This is our 15-minute meditation time as we gather together and get ready for our services later on this morning at the top of the hour. So sit back and relax. I'll have a brief reading this morning, and then we'll go into meditation time. And then I will guide us back out when the appropriate time arrives. So again, glad to have everybody here. And here we go. The reading this morning is from the Tao of Pooh by Benjamin Hoff. So sit back and allow your eyes to relax and just listen in. But the adult is not the highest stage of development. The end of the cycle is that of the independent, clear-minded, all-seeing child. That is the level known as wisdom. When the Tao Te Ching and other wise books say things like, return to the beginning, become a child again, that's what they're referring to. Why do the enlightened seem filled with light and happiness like children? Why do they sometimes even look and talk like children? Because they are. The wise are children who know. Their minds have been emptied of the countless minute somethings of small learning and filled with the wisdom of the great nothing, the way of the universe. And then he goes on. They walked on, thinking of this and that, and by they came to an enchanted place on the very top of the forest called Galleon's Lap, which is 60-something trees in a circle. And Christopher Robin knew that it was enchanted because nobody had ever been able to count whether it was 63 or 64, not even when he tied a piece of string around each tree after he had counted it. Being enchanted, its floor was not like the floor of the forest, gorse and bracken and heather, but close-set grass, quiet and smooth and green. Sitting there, they could see the whole world spread out until it reached the sky. And whatever there was, all over the world, was there with them in Galleon's lap. So let's turn within with this sense of childlike wonder, where our minds and hearts are open, and we invite that space of not knowing and not having to know it all, where we can just simply be and just simply let it all be. Bring ourselves back with a sense of gratitude for the peace and stillness, wiggling our fingers and toes. And then as we're ready, just gently allowing the eyes to open. Thank you for joining us for our time of meditation, and we look forward to having you all hang around or come back at the top of the hour for our services this morning. Look forward to seeing you then. God bless. wise, and I know the light of love is shining in my eyes. I am happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise. Yes, I am. I am happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise. Happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise. And I know the light of love is shining in my eyes. I am happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise. A little bird told me life is so sweet. As I listen to her song, I know I am complete. I have all the keys to love, joy, and peace. The power is infinite. Love will increase. I'm happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise. I'm happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise. I know the light of love is shining in my eyes. I am happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise. A little bird told me life is so sweet. All right, Joe. All right. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Stand and join together. Come together, heart and soul, as we love together. Young and old, we will sing together, together in one song. Come together, from different worlds we are drawn together. In our own way we can pray together. Together we are strong. I see God in you. You see God in me. One path, one vision, one family. Come together, dreams and hands we will join together to build a place we can grow together. Together we are whole. All right. There we go. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. All right. Glad to have you all here. Welcome to Scottsdale Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Reverend Lee Height. Welcome to everybody here in the space. Everybody out there watching us on YouTube and Facebook Live. We're glad to have you with us as well. If you're out there or you're in here in the space and internet savvy, please share that you're here. Check in on Facebook. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the like button, subscribe, share it out to your friends if you're enjoying what you're seeing. Share us out there. Celebrate life, because we're about celebrating you and celebrating life and celebrating this thing called life. Welcome, especially to anybody here who is here for the very first time. I don't see any new faces in the space, but there may be some new people out there watching. Welcome. We're glad that you are here and hope that you find us to your liking. If you'd like to stay up to date with what's going on here at the Scottsdale Center for Spiritual Living, we do have a mailing list. You can sign up on our website. You can sign up on, if you're here in the space, the paper and pen in the lobby. We'd be glad to have you kind of keep up with what's going on. We do have a weekly email that goes out to keep you up to date with what's happening here at the center. As I said before, you can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram. On Facebook, we have our live stream every Sunday, and we have a replay now, Wednesday evenings. Thanks to our AV person, Jim. Thank you for doing that, setting that up for us. We have a replay every Wednesday evening that pops up, so you can join us there. Let's see. We have such a great community here at Scottsdale CSL. And we're growing each and every week. We're happy to see new friends and look forward to growing in spirit with all of you. We do have a mission, vision, and purpose for being, and if you would care to, please join me in reading that into the service here this morning. Our mission is to provide spiritual tools for personal and community transformation. Our vision is a world that works for everyone. Our purpose is to awaken to our spiritual magnificence, and so it is. And in the good news department, there has never been a better time to go to Copenhagen. Did you all know? Let's go. I love it. Copenhagen in 2024 is set to be the largest tourist season on record, with people flooding to popular destinations in Italy, France, and Spain in such numbers that city governments are raising tourist taxes and even discouraging visitors. What? With strict controls on behavior, group sizes, and rental property numbers. By contrast, Copenhagen, the capital of Denmark, has launched a program whereby visitors this summer can earn credits for public transport, attraction entrances, and more by what? How do you think they're doing that? Picking up litter. Picking up litter. Using zero emissions transport or doing short volunteer stints. Rather than penalizing bad behavior, Copenhagen wants to invite good behavior by instilling in visitors the values and habits that make Copenhagen one of the most environmentally sustainable European capitals. Earn rewards at Copenhagen attractions, ranging from a free lunch or a cup of coffee to a kayak tour, or even free entrance to the museum by participating in several sustainable activities, including biking, taking zero-emission public transport instead of driving, picking up litter, or pledging sustainable behavior. Companies will not be reimbursed under the plan, but the green-eyed Danes are still signing up to participate, with 24 firms involved in tourism and hospitality opting into the program, which city planners say will be trust-based. So bravo. Yay, yay, yay. We like that. So, okay, that is good news for today. Okay. All right, let's shift gears. If you join with me while we turn within, take a breath, relax. Lift your shoulders up and then just let them drop. As we remember and recognize that wherever we are, there is a higher power, something we call spirit, universal mind, God. Is within and all around us. Closer than our hands and feet, closer than the breath we breathe. It is our essential nature. It is our very life. And it's this life that we join together to celebrate here today. As we gather together to celebrate each other, to celebrate the spirit of life that flows in, through, around, and as each and every one of us here, everybody listening, watching online, everybody throughout this world in which we live. We see it, we touch it, we feel it, we experience it at every moment. A divine creative force that guides and directs us in every moment is ever available when we turn to it. As divine love and wisdom right where we are. And so bubbling up within us right now, we feel a sure and certain joy in living, in loving, in being present. We let go of everything that has gone before and allow ourselves to be right here, right now, in this present moment. And so with gratitude, we go into the rest of this time together, knowing that it's not only we who are blessed, that we are a blessing to life, that wherever they are, anybody pursuing their spiritual practice is truly blessed as well. We are so very, very grateful for this time, for this moment, and every moment. And so we let it be. And so it is.
You are blessed. You are a blessing. 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 You are a blessing. You are a blessing.
Good morning. I'm Victoria, and I will be giving the announcements this morning. Gratitude is the ability to experience life as a gift. It liberates us from prison of self-preoccupation by Reverend John Orthberg. Would anyone like to share a brief gratitude today? Great.
I just want to say that I am grateful that there are so many centers all over the world that people can go to. I was in Reno 2 weeks ago and I thought, it's Sunday, let me see what I can find. And I found the Reno Center for Spiritual Living, which was fabulous. And I'm just grateful that anywhere I go, I can find wonderful, caring, loving people.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'll share. I am grateful to be living in Arizona, not Washington State, because yay, sunshine. And in such close proximity to wonderful places like Sedona, where we were able to visit yesterday. It always fills my cup to be able to connect with nature there.
Thank you. Okay. It's summer and hot outside, but there are lots of cool places and things to do around the valley to host a summer grateful gathering. See Valerie and the fine folks at the front desk for more information and to sign up to host a fun summer event. And some examples include a pool party, indoor miniature golf, cool indoor picnic, painting party, cake decorating party, game night, or any other creative idea you may have. And register today for Spiritual Economics class beginning September 12th through November 7th. Join Reverend Jill for 8 weeks of deeper realization of the prosperity in which we live, move, and have our being. And this is not a class in economics, but a class to help you better understand and live universal prosperity principles. If you're ready to change your consciousness about money, health, and love, and learn to live a more prosperous life, sign up today in the lobby. Registration is $40 due at sign up, plus the class fee is $200. Payment plans are available at $50 per week. Books are available in the bookstore. And speaking of books, our September book of the month has arrived and is available in the bookstore. It's Mind Body Secrets by Dr. Beatrice Olson. Reverend Jill and Reverend Lee will be studying it for their September Sunday messages. Healthy inside and out. Pick up your copy and read along. Books and reading guide at the front desk. And after the message this morning, Reverend Lee will open the mic for your questions or comments about today's topics. We have a basket of pens and scratch pads available at the front table if you'd like to take notes during the service. And we love music here at Scottsdale CSL, and today we welcome Shine Down with their song Get Up. Thank you.
Yay. All right. Good morning. And I love that. I love that song. Otherwise, I wouldn't have picked it. I did pick it. All right. So this morning, I'm going to wrap up our series on this month's theme, Awakening Your Spiritual Power. We started out the month with kind of the process of breaking things down and putting them back together. And then we went into kind of the creative process and how do we make choices and how do we frame our choices and do that kind of a thing. And then last week, Reverend Jill picked up with, we've learned enough through suffering. And how do we break that cycle and make different choices? And so this week, I kind of looked at all of that and wanted to look at how do we go about looking at this process. I looked at everything that we have been taking on with this idea of awakening our power. And looking at that and saying, you know what, we have this power, we have this presence, this atmosphere that operates within us and through us and as us each and every moment. And it's always moving, it's always happening. Its nature is to expand and move and grow and move through us and surround us and take on shape and form and substance as our experience. All of that, as we teach, in accord with what we believe, truly believe. And like a friend of mine reminded me of as we were talking on the phone yesterday, he was talking about, some friends of his, and he described them as this. He says, they don't just have faith, Lee, they know. And how often do we talk about that? I don't have faith that the sun is going to rise in the morning. I just know that it will. There's no question in my mind that the sun's coming up in the morning. Even though I may not even see it. It may be hidden by the clouds, but I know it's there. Or the moon rise. Or the tides rising and falling. Or any number of other things that we simply know happen. We simply know that they are. So as we move through this talk here this morning, this message this morning, thank you for that. Yes, message, not talk. Keep all that in mind. Keep all that in mind, because how we frame the process in terms of our thought, in terms of our belief, in terms of our thinking, our knowing, how we frame what is happening in our world makes all the difference. Makes all the difference. So begin with this first quote this morning from Tom Robbins. And he writes this: our greatest human adventure is the evolution of consciousness. We are in this life to enlarge the soul, liberate the spirit, and light up the brain. To enlarge the soul, liberate the spirit, and light up the brain. I like that last one too. Light up the brain. Growth is always going on. We can agree that change is always happening. And because of that growth, we change. And because of the change, we grow. It's a very symbiotic system. They work hand in hand. Learning and growing and changing is always happening. what drives our experience of that is what is our relationship to change? How do I feel about change? How do I feel about learning and growing? Now, in some areas of my life, it's very easy for me to accept change. In other areas of my life, not so much. I had this is kind of a funny one this week. So this last week I went back to work. Change. I went back to my day job, my full time, not 9 to 5, but more like 4 a.m. to 12:30, 1 o'clock. Now I've been off for 6 weeks. And so I've been out of my rhythm. I've been out of my cycle of the way I do things. At that time of the morning, I have a very habitual way of going through things to make sure everything happens. Typically. This week, I worked from home on Monday, got kind of things organized and caught up on email and that kind of thing. Tuesday, I went out into the field for the first time in 6 weeks. Got up, got dressed, pulled things together, grabbed my stuff, went out to the van, got in the van, drove down the highway about 20 minutes, and all of a sudden I noticed my feet felt funny. I had gotten in the van in my socks and sandals.
No steel toe.
No steel toes. No steel toes, as is expected. So I was way too far down the road to turn around and go back, so I had to, wait till the stores open, and I bought another pair of shoes to get me through the rest of the day. Now, I could have gotten really cranky about that. I could have gotten, if I was the real self-critical type, I could have gotten really upset with me about that. Sometimes I am that self-critical, but in this case, no. In this case, it was like, okay, silly goose, get on with your day, get some shoes, and move on. And actually, the first stop, I kind of made a joke out. And they hadn't even noticed, quite honestly, that the team in the hospital, not a big deal. Point being, it's about how am I with change? How am I handling that? Am I going to get so attached to the way things are that I am, how tempted am I to allow what Emerson calls, allow my bloated nothingness to gum up the divine circuits? Am I getting in my own way? Am I so attached to the way things are that I can't allow change and growth that is for my good to happen? Am I stopping myself? Am I short-circuiting me in my thinking? Alan Watts writes, the only way to make sense out of change is to plunge into it, move with it, and join the dance. Join the dance. How many of us are willing to really dive in and join the dance of change? Because quite honestly, at this point, that's the only dance there is. If I'm about dancing with life, if I'm about dancing with spirit, I'm about dancing with change. Because this change is always happening, always going on. It is the sole constant in the universe. And so how do I feel about that? Can I get excited about it? When something happens in the world and the phrase comes up, now what? Am I saying now what with a frown on my face? Or am I saying now what with a smile on my face? It's like, oh, now what? Or is it, all right, now what? What is it in your world? I can honestly say, probably, yeah, Now what? Happens? Sure. And now what with a smile? Oh boy, what's next? That can happen too. And what is the frame of mind that allows me to have that experience with a smile on my face? What makes that difference? What makes the difference is what I expect. How am I viewing my life? How am I viewing my world? How do I view the natural course of events? Am I trusting that love as the sole and prime creative force in the universe, that is driving everything? That creative expansion and growth and happiness, that is the drive, that is the experience that I am expecting in life. And I know sometimes that's challenging. If I lose a job, if I get sick, if I've fallen, bruise myself, something happens to my car, when all of a sudden everything seems to be going wrong and the universe seems to be conspiring against me, how do I shift that? It takes work. It takes being attentive. It takes being mindful about what the conversation is going on in my head. Affirmations work, meditation works, prayer, spiritual mind treatment and affirmative prayer work to help shift the consciousness, to begin step by step changing the way I'm thinking, to shift my mental equivalence from saying, man, the life is just after me, from that kind of a position, saying, you know what? Life is for me. The universe is working for me on my behalf, and it is answering yes to the desires of my heart when I stay focused on that, when I continue to give attention to that, and allow that to be the dominant focus of attention for me day in, day out. I have a pair of quotes from Ernest Holmes about this. He starts, "Do I see life limited to the eternal round of getting up in the morning, eating, going to work, coming home, going to bed, sleeping, getting up again, and so on?" He says, do I see life limited to that? And then he follows up with, break the bonds, he says, of apparent necessity and see life as one continuous expression of the infinite spirit. And as this conception gradually dawns upon the inner thought, something will happen in the inner conditions to relieve the greater demands of necessity. He says something will happen. The change will happen when we begin to see life as a continuous expression of the infinite spirit. And that the core nature of that infinite spirit is for growth, is for expansion, is for an ever-expanding expression of itself as us. As the goodness and truth and love and joy that we say is our desire. Abundance, health, wholeness, prosperity, all of that is seeking that expansion of expression through us. And we make room for that. And we look at these events that may seem contrary to that as opportunities to let go of the beliefs that say, you know what, I'm not good enough, life's not working for me, life's not happening for me. They keep telling me, We keep learning that life is working for us and supporting us and saying yes and yes and yes and yes and yes, but I'm just not seeing it. And part of that conversation is saying, I'm just not seeing it, I'm just not getting it. And I get trapped in this downward spiral of I'm not good enough, I don't deserve this, I've made too many mistakes, I've done too much bad in my life, blah, 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 blah. Letting go of that, turning the page on that, drawing a line in the sand of my own consciousness to say, no, all of that has gone to create the good person that I am today. And I've learned from all that. And I get to move forward. I get to be different. I get to live differently. I get to express differently. I get to have the good stuff. I get to experience the good relationships. I get to know and trust and believe and have an experience of all my needs being met and exceeded. I have enough prosperity. I have enough in my bank account to pay my bills, to go out and play, to give some money away and support the causes that really excite me and lift me up. I get to do all of that. Because why? Because I am worthwhile. Because I've taken the time to turn towards the challenges that I've had in my life and say, you know what? Okay, I've learned from this. I'm now better than all of this. Ernest Holmes goes on to say this. He says, as we bring ourselves to a greater vision, we induce greater concept and thereby demonstrate more in our experience. In this way, there is a continuous growth and unfoldment taking place. A simple analogy would be, you know what? I keep going to the well of my own good with a bigger and bigger bucket. And eventually that bucket turns into a hose. And it changes from a garden hose to a fire hose. And then I get the pump out and it's just constant and it flows. The good flows. Because I enlarge my concept. I enlarge my idea of how much good I am worthy of. And as we slowly, gently enlarge that concept of what is ours, of what we're worthy of, guess what? We begin experiencing it too. And the way gets made clear for how we get there. We begin telling a different story about who we are, about what our experience is. We begin telling a different story about what our lives are. Like we are to keep our conversations in heaven, so to speak. That's not to say that we don't have our down times. That's not to say that we don't have our emotional times where we are letting go of the things that have held us back. We have our feelings, we have our emotions, we have our tears, we have our rage moments. The trick is in having them and letting them go, having them and turning the page, right? So that we're no longer holding on to it. We have the moments and then we move on. We have the moments that we say, okay, now what's next? With a smile. Where do I get to go from here? I get to make different choices. I get to give attention to different ideas. Ideas that are no longer holding me back, ideas that are no longer limiting me, but ideas that are limitless. ideas that are filled with what's possible rather than what's missing. You see the difference there? That difference between, man, it's just not here. What's missing? What's missing? What's missing? And we can shift from what's missing to what's possible. That's where ideas come up. That's a frame of mind. That's a framework that says something is possible, and what is it? What can I do from here? And being willing to just sit in the question long enough for the answer to show up. Not forcing it, not pushing it, being willing to be just a little bit in that empty space. Because that empty space is a space of possibility. That empty space is where creativity happens, where a little bit of childlike joy and wonder can happen. Or maybe I start thinking outside the box, or maybe I just, push the sides of the box down and say, you know what, don't need a box. I can just let it all go. And be willing to just be empty enough so that an idea that maybe I've never even considered can show up. Possibility thinking and feeling. Sometimes it can be challenging in the dark times to be willing to look for the good. Sometimes we have to start with just being grateful for the fact that I wake up in the morning, that I have breath in my lungs, that I have roof over my head, that I have food on my table, that I have friends I can count on, and begin stacking those things one on the other, on the other, on the other. 2 things, 3 things, 5 things, 10 things. Soon I've got 100 things that I'm grateful for in my life. One upon the other, upon the other, upon the other. And that's the way I can shift. That's the way I can move and learn and grow. That's the way I can expand that bucket of good that I'm willing to accept by saying, wow, I do have a lot to be grateful for. There is good in my world. We start small and build from there. Turning the page is where we can both embrace what is and hold space for what's possible at the same time. Where we accept our good, celebrate our awareness that says, you know what, there is an activity of spirit, there is a presence of love here. I may not feel real joyful in the moment, but I know that in time I can turn this page and embrace something greater. I can begin looking for the good. I can begin expecting that change is happening, knowing that that change is always for my good. Because I am keeping my mind and my attention and my intention on this idea that life is working for me, that life is saying yes to the desires of my heart. And those are the things that make all the difference. All the difference. And that will lead us to our practice for this week, which is this. So this week we start the day looking in the mirror and asking the question, what's possible today? What's possible today? We may get an answer right away, or we may simply allow ourselves to be in the question and hold space for something serendipitous to occur. We're not always going to get an answer right away. Sometimes we have to live in the question. I should say have to. Sometimes we get to live in the question. And that means we get to walk around with a sense of expecting something good. Okay? We're expecting an answer. So that is our practice for the day, for this week. So with that, now it's your turn. Questions, comments, answers, responses to any of it. And people online, I am monitoring the chat as we speak. So if you have a question online, you can type it into the chat. Go ahead, Victoria.
Yeah, we had a lovely young lady come into our life this last week, and she lives that principle. 3 years ago, she went through a divorce, and so she decided she didn't like her job. She was going to quit her job, and she wanted to see, she's from Poland. She wanted to see every state. So she started out with no job, no belongings, just a car, and she goes on faith like Peace Pilgrim.
Oh.
She just goes, and I mean, I was flabbergasted. And she's lovely. So she's filling in for our lovely housekeeper. She comes to Arizona, and our housekeeper says, "Well, I'm going to Poland for 3 months. You can stay in my house, and you can do my clients." So that's how I met Grace. So she said one time she got on the plane to go see her mom who was ill in Poland. She had $60 to her name. Well, you can hardly get a cab to go from the airport to wherever, but she said it always works out. She said, when I get someplace, I don't know anyone, I drive in, stop at a restaurant or something always happens. And I thought, that's what you're talking about. So how amazing that is.
Wonderful. Thank you, Victoria. All right. Anybody else? Okay. All right, then. We will wrap it up there. All right. Let's take it all to spirit. Let's go inside and practice this principle. So in the consciousness here established, we recognize the one power and presence that is spirit. An infinite love and life and joy that surrounds us and folds us right here, right now. Truly, we are it. And each and every one of us, an individualized expression of this divine and infinite presence. And so as we move forward into the rest of this day, we know this truth for each and every one of us here in the space. Everybody listening, watching online, we are so very grateful. And we know and trust right now that we simply turn the page and allow ourselves to be present right where we are. Knowing that this infinite life is working for us, for our good, supporting us right here and right now, and we celebrate it. We celebrate this knowing. Letting go of everything that has gone before so that we can be present with what is here right now. Letting go of all sense of lack or limitation that we may have had up until this point. Knowing that we are infinite love and truth expanding in its expression through us, as us, right here, right now. That wholeness, health, abundance, and prosperity are our divine birthright, and we experience it and accept it and celebrate it now. Now, now, now. And I know for anybody here in this space, anybody watching online now or later, that if there is a desire, if there is a need, if there is something we need to let go of, that is done right now. That wholeness and health are our birthright, that right and perfect employment are the truth of our experience, that prosperity and wholeness and abundance are our experience of life right now. That right relationships are harmonious, loving, joyful, and joy-filled. That communication is clear and loving and caring. All this and so much more. Divine love and wisdom guide and direct each and every one of us in this moment and every moment. Each and every one of us hearing the sound of my voice is truly blessed and a blessing. That wherever they are, whatever they are doing, our friends, our family, our community, truly all those in this world are truly uplifted in love to see very, very clearly the truth of who and what we are as a human family. Each and every one, a divine expression of love. And so with gratitude, we go forward knowing that all is well, that life is good and very good as each and every one of us. And so we let it be, and so it is. Okay. All right, deep breath. Now it's time for our grateful giving. There's a time in our service for our spiritual practice and affirmation of abundance, where we affirm and circulate the good that we have received in our lives and support the continued sharing of our message of affirmative spirituality with the world and our community. Ernest Holmes writes, I know that my good is increased and multiplied as it is scattered. I am both an inlet and an outlet for the passage of divine love, life, and power. Wherever I go, then I shall impart the divine blessing which I have received. So I invite everyone online and in the room here to participate in this practice this morning. There are many ways to share your contribution, to grow your prosperity consciousness, and to support our center's financial health. There's a donate button on our website where you can make a one-time or a recurring donation. If you make that a recurring donation, if you come into the space and join us in person, you can pick the little tithe ticket so that when the basket comes around, you can drop that into the basket. We also have money finders, the prosperity practice where when serendipitous income occurs in your world, 10% of it goes in the envelope and 90% of it stays in your pocket. And that way we stay conscious of when the unexpected or unplanned serendipitous income occurs in your life. And it opens, the more you practice it, the more it happens. I can guarantee you that. It's a wonderful thing. Also, our Zelle address is donations@scottsdalecsl.org. We have the ability to take credit cards in the lobby or use the QR code that shows up on the screen or on the website. And we have the offering basket here in the space as well. So with all of that, if you'd like to join me in holding the gift over your heart and say with me the affirmation. I am an open channel through which prosperity flows. I accept the divine flow of goodness, ideas, and substance through me now. I am grateful for my full and prosperous life, and so it is.
Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful, I'm so grateful, I'm so grateful, I'm so grateful, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful. 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 I'm so grateful.
And we are so very, very grateful for the abundance and prosperity that has been shared with us here today. We receive it with gratitude and allow it to flow through us and through our center, our ministry, into the lives of all those that we serve, our community here in the space, our community at large, truly into the world. We are so very grateful. We receive it knowing that it's pressed down, shaken together in an ever-expanded cycle of abundance, health, wholeness, love, and prosperity. And so we let it be, and so it is. All right. Thank you, Penny. So if you'd like prayer today, please see myself, so be patient. I'm it. No Daniel, no Reverend Jill. They're all off taking care of themselves. Or you can leave a written prayer request in the prayer box in the lobby, or you can use the button on the website 24/7, 365, and the prayer crew will take care of that for you. Remember to stop by the front desk to sign up to host a grateful gathering, or pick up your book of the month, or make a donation. Register for the upcoming spiritual economics class at the desk or online. Registration closes September 8th. Next Sunday, we will be turning the calendar page to September. We're continuing our annual theme of building our spiritual foundation as we move to interior design. Look out! Our series for September is Healthy Inside and Out, and Reverend Jill's message is Care of the Mind. Care of the mind. So here we go, friends. All right. I think that's it. So with that, please stand and join me in the affirmation this morning and our closing song to follow. Our affirmation: I live in peace and share my joy. I am empowered by spiritual truth. Today, I am open to infinite possibility. And so it is.
There was a time in my life, thought I had to do it all for myself. Didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggle just to make it through another day, gotta let it go. Gotta let it all go. Are you listening? You got to let it all go. And this is what you have to say. I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I only for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I